Southern California. Southern California's Filipino sari-sari store. And SoCal Filipinos presents Kababayan Korner. How's it going? Featuring Edwin Baloloy, Janice Jimenez, Leo Bato, Ronquillo, Jucevi. Please welcome your guest host, Joe Pimentel from Spectrum One News.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Kamusta po kayong lahat? In behalf of SoCal Filipinos and Southern California Sari Group, my name is Jucevi. We are thankful for tuning in to our third episode of Kababayan Korner. How's it going? Today we are blessed with fellow amazing realtors all over Southern California to talk about our current housing market. Abby, can you talk more about our show today?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We know that you have other things to watch, but thank you for choosing us. Today, we're going to speak about the real estate market and what to look forward to in 2022. I know we had a question in SoCal Filipinos in the group about the real estate market, and I just wanted to make sure we wanted to do this show so that people are not misinformed and so that we can set their expectations for just to see what's coming up for the year. So, Joseph, I'll let you take it away. Joseph is our moderator today. Joseph Pimentel is from Spectrum One News, and he'll be moderating our show.
Yep. How's everybody doing today? My name is Joseph Pimentel. I'm a reporter, business reporter at Spectrum News. I've been in the industry for more than 20 years. Before joining Spectrum, I was a commercial real estate business reporter for BizNow, which is one of the largest commercial real estate online publication and events company. I was also at the Orange County Register, and before that, I was with the Asian Journal and ABS-CBN. So
Wow.
Thank you for having me. So first off, let's start out. We're going to be talking about the state of Southern California's real estate market. But before I get into an overview of what's currently happening in the market, I'd like everybody to sort of introduce themselves. Janice, I'd like for you to start. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your specializations and where you currently are?
Oh, thank you. Hello, everybody. And I'm so happy and proud to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be on this panel. I'm very honored to be able to share with you my knowledge on the many years that I've been in the business. I'm a real estate broker and a mortgage banker. So both sides I do. I also do listing and sales side of the spectrum. So I started with Century 21, worked my way up from a Ruby to a Diamond awardee, and then I split and said I'm going to open up my own business. So here I am, 16 years later. Regal Real Estate is going to be celebrating 16th year anniversary this year. Yay. So thank you. So talking about myself, well, I was a nurse for 19 years, an RN like most of you here, my fellow RNs by heart. So we're always going to be patients first or clients first. So the people that are our clients would always have the benefit of having a nurse on your side because we're never gonna, be able to let you down. You always come first before anything else. And so I'm proud to say that a lot of Filipinos have that trait, but more so when you're a nurse, right? And being in this environment for a little bit of time, I've kind of survived the worst and good times. And obviously the last couple of years, even with the pandemic, the real estate market has survived pretty well and thrived. And it will be this way for a little bit more, provided that the situation doesn't go worse or the unknowns doesn't really affect us tremendously. But again, we'll talk about more of that later. Going back to you. Thank you.
All right, go ahead. Edwin, go ahead and introduce yourself. And then Leo and Giuseppe. Oh, and Abby.
Sure, Edwin Baloloy with Residential Agent Inc. Thank you to SoCal Filipinos for having me on the show again. Thank you to John Eric and to the rest of the crew over here. I was, since Janice was talking about her other career, I was actually one of the I had one of the ideal careers. I was an engineer. I was an engineer for 10 years. I'm a graduate of Cal Poly Pomona. I majored in mechanical engineering. But after a while, the 9 to 5 just became a very monotonous kind of thing to me. And my mom had a real estate office in Cerritos. She's been a broker since the 70s. And then I've always worked out of there. I was able to see the first dip in the 90s. And then I went into the business 13 years ago. So I went in right when everyone was getting out in 2007. And then right now I work for a boutique brokerage called Residential Agent Inc. It's owned by John McMonagle. He's the big shot who's around Newport Beach. I have a website called midriseliving.com. I do think high density is the future of real estate, especially in Southern California. My split between the type of properties that I sell, I deal about 40% high density with the mid-rise type of condos, townhomes, and then the other 60% single family residences, primarily out of Orange County. Specifically, I reside in North Orange County near Anaheim, and then my brokerage is over there in Newport Beach. And back to you.
Mr. Leo?
Hi, my name is Leo Bato. I'm a real estate agent here in San Fernando Valley and concentrating on LA County, Palmdale, and Santa Clarita. I'm a registered nurse prior to joining in real estate. I'm still picking up some shift as a registered nurse, knowing the shortage of. But basically, I'm more on helping our healthcare heroes, healthcare professionals, represent them in selling and buying process. And thank you for inviting me.
Go ahead, Jucevi.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. So my name is Jucevi. I'm a realtor. I just started on 2020. Before that, I'm actually a registered nurse as well. For the last 16 years, started the ER, ICOR. So like our fellow realtors who are in the nursing field, we approach real estate as in a holistic approach, not just one focus like get buy or sell homes. You have to factor in the whole perspective. So we'll talk to you more about that. In terms of my um, uh, track record, I represented mostly the buyer side last year. I became a realtor after a couple of coworkers who are actually also nurses shared their frustrations that they went to two realtors that told them now is not the time, they don't have the budget, and every time they wanted to see a home, they were told that, oh no, it's no longer available, even though it still is. So I showed that frustration, and another coworker was got diagnosed, and his only thing he wished for when he will get better or get through it is to buy him a home. That was my hint that, you know what, this might be it. So I should do it for him. And it turns out, fast forward, there's only not three coworkers, but there's more other coworkers or friends, family that also need help. So I am lucky and blessed to be able to do so, and looking forward to help more families in the near future. Thank you. Mamabi?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. All of the realtors here. I'm learning something new each time. I hear you guys speak. So I didn't know that you guys were all nurses. So I wasn't a nurse. I Before I was in real estate, I was a bookkeeper and a legal assistant. And when me and my husband were buying our first home, we just had a bad experience, and I just didn't want other people to experience that. So I wanted to be a real estate agent and just give all to all my clients. I'm also a broker and owner of Net Realty. We have a mobile app on the Apple and Google Play Store. Um, Net Realty, we're about sustainability and being sustainable in your home. Like I try to promote solar panels, EVs, clean energy, and composting and gardening. I try to instill that in my buyers. So So that's what Net Realty does. So back to you, Joseph.
Great. I mean, we have such a distinguished and esteemed panel, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts about Southern California's real estate market. So before I ask the questions, I'll give you all sort of like a bird's eye view of what the current market looks like. I just pulled this up, and as you know, I mean, I'm a reporter. So right now, I mean, if I were to write a story today about the real estate market, the first thing that comes to mind, the headline is Southern California's housing inventory is at an unprecedented low number to start 2022. I talked to some of the people on reports on housing. A shameless plug. I mean, I think these, Stephen Thomas, the economist who runs reports on housing, the data market, who analyzes Southern California's data, housing market. I mean, he's just awesome. So I'll just, I pulled up a lot of his reports, and high level, here's what Southern California's sort of current inventory stock sort of looks like. And this is just as of like this past week, January 10th to January 17th. So in Los Angeles, currently there are about 4,700 active listings, right? And that's down. Last year, 2021, there were 7,600 homes. Pre-COVID 2019, there was 12,400 homes for sale. That's in LA. In Orange County, there's only about 1,100 homes for sale. Last year, it was at 2,600. And pre-COVID 2019, there were more than 5,900 homes. Riverside, same thing. There were about 2,300 active listings. Last year, there were 3,100. And pre-COVID, there were more than 9,000. And San Bernardino, there was, that's the only place that didn't have unprecedented low numbers. There were 2,040 homes for sale. Last year, they started the year at 1,800 homes, but it's still 6,400 homes down from 2019 numbers. So, that just goes to show you, no one is selling at this market. And at the same time, mortgage rates, which started the year last year at 2.6%, have increased nearly a percentage point. As of today, I think it's 3.5 or 3.6%. And aside from all that, we have, prices have been going up in every county. So in LA County, this is the most recent numbers in November. They haven't done December numbers yet, but the average median price is about $788,000. In Orange County, it's at $919,000. In Riverside County, it's at $546,000, and in San Bernardino, it's about at $475,000. Obviously, that all varies depending on the neighborhood and the size of the home, but that just gives you a gauge of what's happening in the market. So now, the big question is, what does this all mean? Like, if I'm a prospective buyer and I'm looking to jump into this market, I'm looking at a market with very low inventory, rising home prices, increasing interest rates. Who knows how much higher interest rates are going to go up? Obviously, they're still lower from pre-COVID times. And obviously, in the middle of all this, we're still in the middle of a pandemic with no end in sight. So with that said, Abby, why don't you start? What does this all mean? The lack of inventory, the rising home prices, the increasing mortgage rate. What does this mean for prospective buyers right now?
So right now, I take out buyers almost every day to go look at homes, and luckily we've gotten our offers approved or offers accepted. But I think as far as your data, I think what it means is, I'm not really seeing a slowdown in sight. A lot of the homes that we're submitting offers on, there's 10 plus offers. I had a listing that's a condo in Rancho a couple of weeks ago, and we had almost 30 offers. So that one's going at it's going to sell at almost 700,000, and it's just a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. Last year, it would have been worth about 450 or so. So
Wow.
the market it's pretty crazy. I do think that with the rising interest rates and the low inventory, I don't think it's going to I don't think it's we're going to go into a dip. I think it's going to flatten, but still have somewhat of an upward trajectory. Trajectory in I think towards the end of the year, it should flatten a little bit because I think the interest rates are going to go up. But it also depends on the city. Like I'm talking mostly about Inland Empire because that's the area that I cover. So maybe you guys have different thoughts on Ventura County or LA County.
Janice, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in your market?
Well, yeah, okay. I'm in Los Angeles mostly, but we also have an office in Las Vegas, Nevada. And to tell you frankly, the temperature is about the same. You know, people are bidding 10 plus $1,000 over asking, and you're going to be on the bottom side of the offers. And so you got to be really uh, I guess really strong when you're the buyer's agent. But on a mortgage side, there's a lot of talks because a lot of this depends on the feds and the bonds and the treasuries and the inflation rate, which of course now we're looking at 6.8% to 7%, and they are really talking about hiking the rate up in as soon as March of this year. So for right now, we're stable. At the end of the market day today, it's 3.76 on a 30-year conforming. So every day, I'm on this roller coaster if I try to lock a loan for a client. Because it could reprice 3 to 4 times a day. Now it's kind of crazy, but kind of stable, not like last year or not like I'm seeing it around March when people are going to try to lock it before the Fed goes to their meeting again and hikes it up. It's kind of a cycle, and it's a very, very good prediction. However, because of the reduced affordability that's going to be brought about by the increasing rate. You see, a lot of people won't be able to buy these houses anymore. The debt to income ratios are not going to qualify. And so that's going to taper down or slow down the increase in the prices of the inventory. Again, I'm saying as if this is a black and white market. And the wild card is everybody wants to be in Southern California, right? And there's always going to be shortage of homes. Right now, we're 2 million plus short of homes here. And so everybody's cramming this little spot, little space. And of course, every sale that happens in the territory, the next sale will be higher than that, right? So there's always going to be supply.
Yes.
And also, with the upcoming inflation, the rents are going to come up too. So now renters is going to say, well, do I continue to rent or do I buy a home? I'm just going to put a little bit more down, but at least the house is mine, right? And so it's this really like a wild goose chase. And so I always, and this is, I think, the best takeaway, if anything, is you as a buyer, if you're listening here and you're thinking of buying a home, I think you ought to consider what works for you. Your stars have to align. First of all, do you have the income? Do you have the credit? Do you have the continuing employment? Do you see yourself having this employment for a little bit more time? And do you have the history to back it up? See, all these stars have to align because next year you may not have a job. You will not be able to qualify. So your stars and everybody else's stars doesn't align at the same time. So if I were you talk to somebody, you talk to a broker, mortgage broker, banker like myself, and make sure that you talk about your plan. When do you plan to buy and when are you able to buy? Because it doesn't matter if there's inventory and then there's lower rates and you're not able to qualify, right? But it does matter, but that right now, okay, so the price is a little bit high. Interest rates is still historically low. I mean, we were looking at 16% in years back, right? And so this is still pretty low. And housing, no matter what everybody says, is still the best investment you can put your money in.
But before we get to Orange County with Edwin and Jucevi, let's talk to Leo. I know you cover the San Fernando Valley. in the Santa Clarita. How are you advising your clients at the moment?
Thank you, Janice, for the feedback. We really uh, get the informations basically on the financing side. It's really important, the preparation, just like what Janice said, the preparations of the buyer financially, emotionally. This is so important in order to align your stars. They call it. So I remember what they say in one of my quote is, the only bad time to buy properties is later. So what does it mean? It means that, real estate is being. I remember when I bought my house first time, the interest rate is 11%. So when Janice mentioned about 3.7, that's a good interest rate. That's still a good interest rate. So when things align, that's the time that you jump, so that you have what we call a medium and long term investment. Real estate has been known for a medium and long term investment. It's a guarantee. So with San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles County, is still what you guys experiencing in different cities is what we're experiencing here. Multiple offers, bidding war, and the best, aside from aligning yourself and being prepared, you need to have a realtor that been in the market on this one, knows how to navigate you in terms of bidding, how why I need to bid, why I need to put more money at the stake. So in order for the buyer to understand that, they need to be explained why we need to bid this, so that the buyers will not feel that any remorse, and again, the as a first time home buyers, most of my clients that I used to represent are already reselling, but they are the previous first time home buyer. So I told them, the first home might not be your dream home, but that can lead you to your dream home.
Mhm. All right, Edwin, Giuseppe, tell us a little bit about the Orange County. Well, what's going on in Orange County at the moment?
Well, as far as in my areas, it's been a hard buyer. It's been a hard seller's market for quite some time. But the toughest price point and toughest property to get right now, it seems to have the characteristics of 3 bedrooms or more, 2 baths or more, downstairs bedroom, because there are a lot of multi-generation type of families. And of course, if you got a single story home, they're not building any of those anymore. So the toughest time that I'm having right now with my buyers is when I go over to Irvine, 1 million to 1.4, downstairs bedroom, newer built. I made an offer on something the other day, priced at 1.1. We went 200,000 over asking. No, 250 over asking. So we put in an offer for 1.35. And I get a call from the listing agent the next day telling me that, we're looking good. I'm going to push my seller to take yours. You broke off from the pack. There's no reason to counter anybody else. So, of course, just like my fellow colleagues, we usually like to hold off on any kind of news until we get the contract signed. The next day, I'm not getting any texts. I'm not getting any calls. I knew something was wrong. He tells me, I'm sorry. Your 250,000 over asking wasn't good enough. Someone went in at 1.4, and then my jaw just dropped. It's like, wow. And keep in mind, when we're going over asking price, and I know my colleagues do this as well, we're not looking at comps, because comps are what happened 2-3 months ago. You have to look at what's in escrow right now. And a lot of times you don't know what that value is until you've been making those offers on the other comparable properties. And you go, okay, that one, we bid 1.3. and we think the winning offer is 135. So that 135 is where the market is now. So we put in an offer at 135. No, it's 1.4. And so you've got all that craziness going on with such tight inventory in Irvine and other cities. But at the same time, I'm also working markets where we're not seeing that. So I made an offer on a high rise over in Irvine, right off of Jamboree. We're the only offer. And it's so weird that, wow, the listing agent called me back and we're talking. And we're going to do a single counter. So it's like they want this, we want that, and we actually offered under asking price. So that was a big contrast. The other big contrast was when I sold a place in a 55 and over community. So that one, same thing. They listed right at the last comp. We came in slightly below, and then I got them the home. So it's not across the board. I take that back, but there are little segments, and of course, we haven't even talked about the ultra luxury yet. There are other segments where it could be a buyer's market. You might be, even like studio condo. You might have one of those where other buyers aren't interested.
Yeah, Jucevi, how about you?
Hi, thank you, Joseph, and fellow realtors for that amazing insights. As Mr. Joseph mentioned, there's definitely a shortage, especially in Orange County. Um, so if you're considering about selling, this will be the amazing time to sell. So that's a plus in terms of what the data that Mr. Joseph presented. In terms of the question, what will the buyer's perspective? This is where my register or nurse or a nurse background comes in. Working in the ER, ICU, I've seen the worst case scenario. We've revived people that are about to die. Like in the nursing world, by the way, while we're talking about nursing world, shout out to my fellow nurses. Thank you for everything that you do, especially during this pandemic. And my salute and a hats off to you. Thank you. And going back, so sorry about that. Going back, so I've seen the worst people in the brink of dying, and we're here as nurses, able to revive them and save their life. Obviously, like others, we are not. Even though we do our best, we can't revive it. So, in same thing analogy with real estate. We are here. Your realtors are here for free consultation, and what we do is talk to you and evaluate your scenario, and based on what the market is and what your scenario is, um, we will do our best. We may not get the home, but for us here in this panel and watching realtors watching, we will do our best. And as like a nurse, we won't give up until we know for sure that there's no hope. But besides that, even though it was very, very challenging last year, we are super blessed last year with my clients that even though it's people are overbidding 50K, 100K, here in Orange County, I was actually able to buy homes lower the asking price. So it's true.
Where?
In Yorba Linda, or Stanton, in Fullerton, we didn't have to overprice. So it's true. Don't get me wrong. It's true. Most sellers will prefer the buyer that has the most money. But as human as we are, and it's worth the try, that some buyers will still pick the buyer that they think will fit the home best. So I think like I said, every scenario is different, and it all depends with how you present your offer, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So if Mr. Leo had a quote, it's now or never. My quote will be is no pain, no gain. So if you don't try your best, then you would not be able to get what you wanted. And the time is definitely now, if you ask me, because if the rates will go high and you wait for the market to go down, the rates will be higher. What you'll be paying in 2 years, 3 years, if it does crash, it will be about the same what you're paying right now. So if you're considering, I would highly recommend you to contact your realtor or this panel or any family members that you think will be able to help you. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah. Great. Let's talk a little bit about like what makes a buyer's proposal stand out. I know Janice had mentioned, how like the stars have to align, but what are some of the steps that people need to take if they are going to jump into this market? What do they need to do to make their proposal stand out? I know there's been like a lot of controversy and like after, pre-qualifying and all that, maybe write a letter. I don't know if that's still in. I know that I wrote a letter, 3 years ago when I bought my house. It got rejected. But, I'd love to hear from, you all or one or two of you about how you advise your clients. Like, what do they need to do to put all their ducks in a row?
Can I give a little perspective on the other side? because of that.
Yeah,
really-
we will after this one.
Yeah. So that it does, and of course I'll go into that more specific question. But what I try to educate my clients on is I'll even sometimes show them how I compile offers when I'm on the listing side, because of the listing agent who's getting 10, 20 offers, they're going through the same thing. And a lot of us on this session probably put together a spreadsheet as well. So I'll tell you what's on my spreadsheet. Of course, price is very important. And then I have a whole column who's asking for an appraisal contingency, because this is not the market where you offer this, the appraisal comes in here. There's no negotiating. You just got to put more down. So I do have a column who has the appraisal contingency. I have another column, how much reserves they have. So if someone's putting 20% down, I want to know how much padding they have to go cover that appraisal contingency. And then there's other factors as well, because of one thing, and this is just a personal preference to me, you have to keep in mind that once we accept an offer and we go into escrow, the negotiation's not done. There's a lot of other negotiations that happen. There's timelines. There's a lot of moving parts, and I want a problem solver, because I don't like saying this, but then there's certain, I'm not going to say the brokerage, but there's certain internet companies that are out there that once you get in escrow, you're the only agent. Their agent's going to be nowhere to be found. So I look at how many.
Either that or the mortgage broker or the processor is going on, and you can't reach the realtors anymore. Like, where are they? I need this, I need it from the seller. They're nowhere to be found. And so you bring up a good point, Edwin, if I may, because it's not just the buyer. Once the buyer is pre-qualified or pre-approved or approved for that matter, it is in the hands of the realtor. So it's important that the buyer has a great realtor who has great relations with other realtors like yourselves, right? Because I know that if I deal with Edwin, Abby, Leo, Jucevi, I know that I'm dealing with somebody that is, with integrity and honest, and will answer my call and not put me on voicemail and call me back 3 days later, when I'm on a timeline. So you need that somebody that has professionalism and somebody who's also have a great credibility among the other realtors. Because I'm like, if you work with a realtor before and everything starts going sideways, you're not going to have a best reputation. The next time I see your offer, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to deal with this, with this realtor. Because at the end of the day, it's very personal, And I'm also buy and sell properties. I did 3 or 4 this last year. And so I'm on the both sides of the spectrum. And yes, I will accept an offer below asking or at asking, even if it's not the best offer, if I have emotional ties with the house. Like, say, for example, I live there. I don't want to just give it to another investor, right? Although they have the best money, they have all the money in the world, but you don't want to give it to a family. I want to give it to, some people that have starting, first time home buyers. So yes, it's, the letters still work, as long as your sellers are able to accept those, wanting to read those letters, and they're not only looking at the numbers. And so those things matter. And of course, their reserves is one thing. And, again, if they have great credit reports, some agents would like to see that too. But again, it's the power. The power is in the buyer's agent to present this, a stellar offer, a clean offer for that matter, to be able to get that thing go. Like, Abby, you've been able to get those offers accepted. So congratulations. Great job.
Thank you. I think thank you for that, Janice. So I think a lot of the reasons why I've gotten my buyer's offers accepted is I really do my due diligence on the listing agent. Like, I look them up on Zillow, I see what houses they sold, and then see what school they went to, and then I talk to them, like, and I assure them that this is gonna close on time. I also like to do a quick close. It's because if you're going against a cash buyer, cash buyer, you can go 14 days. If you can do an 18-day escrow, then you're competitive with the cash buyer. It's just that we have to rush the appraisal. So I've been able to get my offers accepted because we do like an 18-day close, which is pretty quick. And then also lately, my clients have had great credit. And like you said, it's that relationship that you have with the listing agent. Right now I'm in escrow on a home in Santa Clarita, and the listing agent is from Open Door. So basically it's just me.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's like, as is, we're not doing anything. And, it's like who I'm contacting a 1-800 number to get answers. And I know some people want to go that route, but really buying a home is very personal. So it would be good to have someone on your side. I use some game theory too when we submit offers, and I like to submit offers right away. Like when we see it, let's say the sellers are still living in the home. They probably don't want to keep showing it. They have to keep cleaning it. So we come out
Yeah.
strong. So they'll cancel their open house, or I start talking to the agent and tell her, your sellers just want to get it done with, right? We'll give them, and we offer lease backs. We'll do an appraisal contingency removal. I haven't had to do that though.
Mm.
I just feel uncomfortable removing the appraisal contingency off the bat. So luckily we haven't had to do that. But I mean, I think I've been lucky. My client,
Mm.
it's also dependent on the clients or on the buyers. Like, how willing are they to buy that house? Like, how motivated are they? So there's certain nuances to getting the offer accepted, but that's how I do things. So.
All right, let's talk about the listing side. Obviously, I just mentioned the low inventory, countywide or across Southern California. I mean, what's it going to take for sellers to start putting their house on the market?
Well, you have to keep in mind that a lot of the sellers, the only type of seller that's really winning in this kind of market is the one who's cashing out, or even going out of state where their prices are much lower. So you do have that situation where there's some sellers, and then my own personal experience is that there's a lot of sellers who are anxious about what's going to happen when they're the buyer. Will they be able to find something? I used to always tell people that there's three options whenever you want to cash out your equity. You could sell and then you could rent back from your buyer. You could sell contingent, which is something you definitely can't do in this market. Or number three, you have to move twice. So number three, people get anxious because they could sell here and then the market ends up moving. And then before they know it, if they didn't buy a house within 6 months, the market really moved away from them. So one of the things you can do, if it's possible for you to do it, you buy first as a seller. And then I don't know, Janice, if you guys are still doing that. Some people do bridge loans. So that way you're not buying contingent. Yeah.
Yes, we do. That is
So
still
what's
available.
a bridge loan?
Well, a bridge loan is basically you find a lender, and this is not a conventional type of loan. So probably a private lender, or in our case, because we are a banker, we can extend a loan, put a lien on the property that you're going to sell, give you that cash out, anticipated cash out, and put that as a down payment on the house that you're going to buy now, versus buying later after you sell. So you don't lose the opportunity to lose a house that you really like if you found one now.
Yeah, the whole point for you not to mention that you're selling a house, because you mentioned you're selling a house.
So you're not contingent. So you don't include the COP form.
Yeah,
yes, because it's actually a lot of buyers will lose interest if they're going to have to wait for you to move out of the house when they underwent all this anxiety during the first 30 days of escrow, and then they wait another 2 to 3 months before they can move in. So that really is a turn off for a lot of the buyers.
Mm-hmm. All right, I know we only have about 20 more minutes left. I'd love to let me just play like a little devil's advocate. Obviously, I mean, this is, the market is crazy. It is a buyer's market at the moment. I mean, a seller's market at the moment. But, there's been a lot of talk with the rising interest rates that, this bubble is going to burst, right? We've seen it. You've seen prices of crypto prices, going down. You see like a lot of these things, NFTs, all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, do you guys think that the real estate bubble is going to burst? Are we going to see the Great Recession 2.0 here in 2022? What are your thoughts?
Well,
I don't think so.
I have a thought, because I'm doing it on a mortgage side, and so you see that there's there's been a talk that it's going to burst because of these people that has been in forbearance for the past few months, right? So if you really come to think of it, at the beginning of the time when forbearances were offered, there was 8 million homeowners that put their homes on forbearance. Right now, we're only at 700,000. So that really tells you that a lot of people are able to get out of the forbearance and keep their homes. So that bubble, if there was one, already would have bursted with all the bad things that happened already, and we happen to live in Southern California. Everybody wants to be in this state, where we are right now. So, and there's always going to be shortage, and that's not going to be fixed in the near future. It's going to take years for that inventory to be able to catch up with the need. And so that's what I'm saying. If there was a bubble, it would have already bursted. Plus, with the rates this low, it's still low. What are you going to do? You're going to wait until the rates are going to be high before you buy a house. And by that time, you're not going to be able to afford it. And so on these people that has been on forbearance, they're equity rich. They're not going to go on forbearance. For people who are waiting for properties to go on, not forbearance, but foreclosure, it's not going to happen. Right. In this market, the homeowners are equity rich. They may not be able to come up with money up front to pay for the lost mortgage that they did not do before, but they'll find out because you can always refinance, cash out, pay that off. There's options now for them to keep the house. So yes, you will still continue to have the shortage, and that drives the of course the need for for people to have more houses.
I don't think we're gonna happen the same thing that happened before in 2016. So it may balance, actually. It may balance the mortgage. When the mortgage goes up, probably the multiple offers might be lessened, but there's still a lot of multiple offers. But it will not. I don't think we were gonna go back there, because just like what Janice said, all they need to do is sell their house and then move to to a different state with rich of equity. They can buy their home with 50% down payment.
Correct. Yeah, and you made a good point. The market will adjust, but then again, like you said, it's not going to correct the problem of the supply.
Yeah. I would like to mention that the housing market is so strong, and at the same time the financing also, because the financing side, just like John said, they do their diligence. These people will buy, they can afford, not unlike before that no pay stub that you can get a house. Now all resource, they are all, you need to have a 2 years income, 2 years income tax, all are validated. So I believe it might be not that worse. Again, when we buy home, we're not gonna stay only for 3-6 months. It's gonna be a medium and long term investment. So, and the interest rate's still good.
Anyone else would like to chime in?
I don't know if John Eric could show the graphic that I'm trying to share over here, but then, thank you. So then going back in time, because I'm sure everyone on this panel's talked to the buyer who thinks it's just going to crash like in 2008. So let's go back in time for a second. 2007, right around November, is when I remember someone just grabbing the keys to the market and turning it off. So what happened over here is, so you even look at August 2008, what was going on was you had a lot of people who just bought their home within the last 3 years, and they had zero equity. Some of them even started off with negative equity because they took cash out at closing. So
that's an arm in mortgage.
The arm where they're paying one of the option one payment, I think it was.
Yes, it's like a
negative amortization.
Yeah, negative amount. Yeah. So they start with like a 1%, and then there's a balloon payment 3 to 5 years later.
Yeah. So this was nuts right here. So those of you who are hoping for a median home price of $415 back in 2008, going all the way down to a median home price of $238,000. Sorry, but that's not going to happen. The market today just has so many people who's putting 20% down, 50% down. People's not going to walk from a home with equity, like Janice said.
Yeah. I really agree. And then from the 2008, and thank you for bringing that up, Edwin. But the mortgage industry have learned so much from that, and they put a lot of strict guidelines for you to be able to afford a home now. So you go under a microscope, and before they give you that stamp of approval that yeah, go ahead and go look for your home. So now people who have bought from then moving forward are able to pay and keep the house for a little while. So
Yeah.
that's what's keeping the market safe, in the housing side, and that's why people are equity rich right now.
Yeah, Janice, I'm wondering, are you seeing people take a lot of jumbo loans because of the cost of housing going up so high?
Yeah, the last 2 years there's been a lot of jumbo loans that we did, but now because the Fed has increased the county loan limits, so now it's becoming conforming. So like high price areas like Los Angeles, San Francisco, of course, San Diego County, and some areas up in North or Orange County too. They have increased the conforming loan limits, so that's easier for
Some areas
for people
in
to
North
get
or
conforming
Orange
loans
County.
or
They have
conventional loans
increased the
with loan
conforming
Sorry.
Somebody's mic. No, that's okay.
Echo.
You're echoing. Hey, because we only have about 15 minutes left, but I'd love to take audience questions. I know there are a couple of people who have asked some questions. John Eric, do we have any here? I think there's one right now. What do you all say to prospective buyers who have recently become self-employed as part of the Great Resignation trend in the workplace?
Well, talk to a mortgage broker first to make sure that you can qualify, because you do need 2 years of employment before you're able to get a loan, take out a loan. So if you're a new business owner and you don't have that 2 year history of your business being successful, or at least making money, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be challenging for you. There's hard money loans though if you really need to get something, but you don't get out of your job if you're thinking of it, if you're thinking of buying a house, because you're going to be delayed 2 years. If you're going to start your business, buy your house first, or buy your house 2 years after you've established your business, and make sure that your business is making money. You can't have a income tax return for your own business that shows no income, or your accountant is deducting everything and you're now at zero income. But also there's also a non-QM option that we can look at your bank statements, make sure that you are making money, quote unquote, not reporting it to the IRS, but your bank statement shows that your business is successful. So there's ways for that. We still need 2 years.
How about stated income loans? Is that
They
what
are
you're
coming
referring
back.
to?
Yes, they are coming back, but very, very high interest rates. You're starting at almost, 8 and above on that one. And I won't recommend that. That's very dangerous.
I'm just wondering. Who are these buyers at the moment? Are these single, the first-time home buyers? Are we talking about investors who want to buy a second or third home to capitalize on the current market? From what you guys are seeing, or are these people who are cashing out because they bought early and then upgrading their home? What's the current demographic?
On my area, or my type of my clients, millennials is surprising that they are open. So most of them are looking to buy their first home because of the interest rate. So that's the reason why this new employed people are uh, really want to get the real estate property. And I'm glad that those our millennials are starting to invest their money on a medium, and short term investment, not the crypto.
Joseph, I think everybody's coming out of the woodwork now, because now they realize, oh my God, I should have bought last year or a year before that, because I'm waiting for that crash, which never
It
happened
didn't happen.
or will not happen. So everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie. They have been saving that down payment. Remember, we got a lot of stimulus check the last 2 years. People are using that now to buy a house. I know that, because once somebody comes and pre-qualifies, I see all of that, and a banker would question every single thing that goes in and out of your bank account. And so we know that it's been a blessing to some, and it's been a blessing to some who has not been paying rent also for these forbearances, so they were able to save that money for a down payment on their home. Imagine all these government help and they convert into something that's worth, investing into. So, I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, it wasn't meant for that, but for people who can afford and had those stimulus on top of that, that really made them give them an advantage.
Remember, there are a lot of, not really a lot, there are subsector of our society that during the start of the COVID, they predicted that the market will crash.
Yeah.
So now those
That's right.
people are now, oh my God, I should buy, right? So the thing with, just like what I said, the bad part of buying the properties later. So if Janice said, if the universe align, jump it, right? Anyway, you can stay for 3 to 4 to 5 to 10 years. At least if you have a property, you know when to sell and when not to sell.
And then, you get COVID, you're out. No, seriously. That is because if you are in an escrow, once you get COVID and you take off of work because of COVID, you sign an attestation that you don't have COVID. So really, that could jeopardize your escrow. I don't know if you guys, seen that, but I've seen that happen. And the people going to the hospital and your escrow's done. And there is there's no protection for the seller on that, because that's something that nobody can predict. So yeah, if you're in the middle of, that's why if you can do it now, don't think that you can do it later. I really, really like your quote, Leo, because tomorrow, next month, next year, you may not be able to do it. I mean, things are predictable. There's unpredictability in the market, and there's also unpredictability with your current situation, for your affordability and your qualification.
Because there's such high demand. I mean, who's going to get left out of the market, though?
No one
Unfortunately, I think it's gonna
Those people that will say the market will
gonna
crash,
crash.
the market will stay.
Yeah.
Those people,
Yep.
all I'm saying is, I know there's an uncertainty, right? But get the property so that you can get certain. So the uncertainty will be diminished once you have a certain. You lock into the property, and then if the market a little bit deep, hold your property. If the
Yeah,
market
just don't sell
is
when
good,
it crashes.
hold your
Yeah.
property. It's
Just
so
hold it
important
until
that
the crash is no longer there. I mean, people who held on to their properties during 2018, 2019, and during those times when there was a lot of foreclosures, they're still equity rich right now. But the ones who lost are those who walked out of the properties then.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think people buy and sell real estate. I'd say at least 90%. They buy and sell off of life events. And then for me, who's 21 years old, no, I'm just kidding. A lot of my friends, they're at a point right now where the two types of homes that I'm listing is their parents' houses, because unfortunately I am at an age where parents' health becomes an issue, and then they have these big houses that are just sitting there. And then the second one is it's the good news type of situation where a friend just got a promotion or something, and then they want to upgrade and get something bigger. So when it comes down to it, my experience after 13 years in the business, people buy and sell based off of a death in the family, a divorce, promotion, relocation, a new baby. They do their thing. I never heard someone say, I'm putting off my marriage because I'm waiting for the real estate market to get better. They just go out and they buy the house. So what you're left with is the people who I do have to pay attention for, like the unsaid things, because of those who are waiting for the crash. Unfortunately, some of them, it's their way of saying, I can't afford the market today. So
That's so true.
yeah. So unfortunately, some of them will get left behind. And then you look at well-established or high-priced areas like San Jose, Fremont, New York. Only the ultra-rich could buy there. So until California does something about its housing supply, this is reality right now.
Yeah.
There are also people that are moving out of the state, like say Self in California and buy Nevada or other states that are lower, also so that they don't have to worry about a mortgage, because now they can afford to buy it in cash or a big down payment as well. And there's also investors that are saying doing their The
1031.
exchange. I'm sorry.
1031.
Yeah, 1031 exchange. Yeah.
1031 exchange. So now they sell one property and get three more in place of it. You see? So
Yeah.
Are you
Yes,
moving a lot of people to Las Vegas and Janice?
yeah, I have a
You
Las
gonna
Vegas
sell them
office,
here?
so I drive here and there, sell the houses here and buy over there. Or you guys have clients that are relocating, let me know.
So, so you mentioned just like our topic is SoCal Filipino, right? So most of us came here as an immigrant. So buying home is like an American dream. So I would like to strongly encourage people to go to your mortgage broker, realtor, Janice here as a lender. So try to see if you can get at least a property, because one thing back home is if you have your own, it's like another motivation for you to move up. And then as an immigrant in uh, in in California, I, I came here with only one bag, and I rented a garage during in 2007 when I started to migrate here. So because I'm not afraid, because it's a blessing for me to meet my realtors or my mortgage, my financing advisors. This is really help, but don't forget to try. The best is to try, and then if, just like Janice said, if the universe align, that's it.
Yes, I agree with Leo. Like Leo, I'm also an immigrant, and everybody has different scenarios and different reasons. To answer the question, earlier about the who are the buyers right now, it's like Leo when he was an immigrant, same as I when my dad passed away at the age of 9. My mom has raised like 5 kids. That I, that I told my mom like, hey, thank you for all what you do, and I will do my best to work so hard. At one point, when I became a nurse, 2006, I worked 3 jobs just to save up in 3 years to buy a home, because that's what I promised to God that, hey, take care of us, and I'll take care of my mom and the family. So yeah, everybody, and that time I didn't even ask myself what's the rate if it's gonna crash. It's because it's what I wanted to do for the family. So
Yeah.
to answer the question about buyers, most of my buyers are actually, luckily, I've been frontliners that who wanted the best for their family, to have a home, a roof to call their home, to make new memories. It's a journey, and besides that, luckily, I also have clients or buyers that are also investors that are looking into passive income. Yes, the market may crash, or mostly not, but in 30 years from now, when the mortgage is all paid off, you're gonna be just collecting rents, and that would be a nice retirement that you will have. And that's why it's still best to buy now rather than wait for it to happen. Because if God forbid it does crash, then as history will show, like in 2008, it will be brief, then all of a sudden it will go up again. So it's really, really, yes, it's unpredictable. We are realtors, we are not fortune tellers, but we are guiding our clients what the trend is. So if you're scared about buying now or because it's gonna crash, then just call your realtor. How does it look like? Give me the statistics. Do you think it's gonna, what's the best advice that you could give? So not so that you won't be missing out. All you have to do is ask. It's for everybody's knowledge. Asking is free consultation from all of us. And don't be shy to reach out, because the more information you know, the educated you are, the better it is. So that's my take on the question, Mr. Joseph.
And there's also a lot of different programs that can suit you. There's not just one or two out there. So there's different programs for different types of borrowers. Just so you know.
Can I
Great. I
answer
think,
the? Oh,
yeah, I
sorry.
think our hour's about up, but go ahead and
Just really
there was a
quick,
question. Yeah.
the buyers that I've seen lately, they're buyers that are renting. So there are people renting for 3,000 or 5,000 a month,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh wow, I'm spending 36,000 a year, 60,000 a year on rent, when I could be building equity instead of making their landlord rich. They can be making themselves rich, and
Mhm.
a lot of them have a lease that's expiring and the lease is going up. If they renew their lease, it'll go up by 800. So they want more stability, and that's why they're looking to buy. They just don't like that uncertainty of the rents going up, and it's just a waste of money renting for over $3,000 when you can purchase a home. So
Great. I know there was a question, what can California do to build more affordable housing? I think that's more on the rental side. I know California is focused most of the affordable housing projects on rentals. But I mean, if you guys want to chime in before we, conclude this discussion, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I write a blog on this, so I wanted to chime in there. Yeah, there, like you said, Joseph, California does focus too much on affordable housing on rentals. What I think has to happen is the local governments have to change their mindset on how they approach affordable housing. Right now, you guys all know what's the easiest project to get approved when there's a parcel of land, right? The city planners are going to say, what do we want to do? We want to have a shopping center there. We're going to build houses. They go through all these options, and then the easiest one to get approved, and you could just grab a cookie cutter design is a luxury apartment building. So that you could, all you have to do is drive down Catella, and Joseph knows the whole history of what happened down Catella. They were supposed to build a lot of condos there, but then a lot of them were flipping over to luxury apartment buildings. So to answer the question, I think a lot of local governments, they have to go focus more on green lighting condo projects, housing projects, as opposed to the apartment buildings and all the other stuff.
Yeah, but then you also have to worry about the NIMBYs who don't want high density, who don't want to give up their parking in their
have that in Eastvale
or whatnot. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have already talked a lot. California passed a lot of the ADU laws, right? You can build an ADU and a JADU, on your property, and that's already gotten like a lot of pushback as well. But all right, any final words before we wrap it up? I mean, we had a great, robust conversation. Anything else, Abby? You start, and then we'll go around, and then we'll conclude it with Jucevi.
Thank you.
I think my final words would be FOMO for 2022. I think a lot of people are going to be overbidding in the beginning of the year because they have a fear of missing out on purchasing a home. So,
Ms. Janice?
yep.
Yeah, Janice, how about you? You're on mute.
Great. Sorry. I said thank you for having me here. It's been great talking to you guys, and it's refreshing to speak with fellow realtors. And I wish we could work together in one of future transactions. And for the buyers out there, it's not too late. Just try and see if you can get qualified, or at least make a plan to, because you can leave a legacy to your family by buying your own home and calling it yours. And it's an American dream, like Leo said. And again, buy when your stars align. Call me or one of these people. They're all professionals, and we'll see if we can get you into your home. And if you already have a home, if you want to see if you can cash out or perhaps lower your mortgage rate, give me a call too. We'll see what we can do.
They said that it's impossible to combine the seller's market and the buyer's market. But I can say that last year and hopefully this year, that is the combinations. So for a seller, you want to encash your equity, this is the right time to sell. For a buyer who wants to upgrade or be a first-time home buyer, this is the right time to buy. Why? Because of the interest rate. So this is the golden moment for both sellers and buyers to take a move. So, and again, hire a realtor. Do not be afraid, and get something that you can afford now. This might not be your dream home, but that can lead you to your dream home.
And then my closing thought is, if you're a seller, don't overlook all the details and how some of the things you have to do to get the most money. because as a listing agent, the majority of the time, and when I'm making offers on other people's listings, I'm seeing a lot of sellers leaving a lot of money on the table. So you can imagine someone just thinking, oh, it's easy to sell. I'm just going to go hire someone who charges the cheapest commission. Well, these are the agents that might not even call anybody back. I'm running into listing agents who are too lazy to even do a counter offer. So if you can imagine a counter offer who could have gotten you 20,000 higher, 30,000 higher, or an agent who didn't want to do home staging because they didn't think it was worth it. Don't discount those things because of getting the right kind of buyer, having a smooth escrow, and of course, getting you the most money would end up being our focus.
Thank you, Mr. Edwin, and everybody joining us today in this panel. For me, as a realtor, my advice for the viewers is 3 words: in God's time. So, as Mr. Leo mentioned, if you are thinking about selling, likely it's going to be a great time today if you want to retire or moving or use the equity to buy something bigger. Yes, it's going to be challenging, as mentioned in this show or episode, but like courting a girlfriend or a wife, you won't really get a yes right away. You have to show effort. So speaking of girlfriend or wife, shout out to my wife to watching the kid.
Good job.
Nice segue.
She's watching today.
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty sure all our spouses, Abby, Edwin, and Leo. I mean, you won't be here if not for them. Same as to our viewers today. Thank you so much. This is the reason why Abby and John and Jason wanted to do a show, because you want to inform. Our fellow panels in this group, we don't want to self-advertise ourselves, but give more information. And we encourage you to go reach out to a realtor if ever you're considering um, buying or selling. And the more information you know, the better. That said, from in behalf of SoCal Filipinos, Southern California group, thank you, Mr. Edwin Baloloy, Mr. Leo Bato, top producers, all these top producers. I'm actually starstruck. During the show, I didn't say much because I'm like, oh, wow, this is what success looks like. This is like career goals. So thank you so much for being here. For fellow realtors watching this, these are the people, or the other side, these are the people to look up for. And I'm pretty sure if you have a question, even though they're not your brokerage, like Miss Abby, she will be willing to open the doors to his office, and you could call Mr. Edwin. I actually asked Mr. Edwin in one transaction about advice as for someone that's starting, and he flat out give me multiple advice. So thank you so much, Mr. Edwin. And I have this first time meeting Mr. Leo and Miss Janice, and just found out they're also registered nurses. So there are my role models. So to all fellow realtors who are watching, don't be scared to ask the other realtors. They are good guidance moving forward. And to our viewers, thank you again for watching. And don't forget, SoCal Filipinos have a couple of events that we would like you to support. One of them is tonight at 8 p.m. In 1 hour is the Original Gago Tour with Rex Navarrete. This Sunday at 4 a.m. is Morissette. And also USC men's basketball is a Filipino Heritage Night. And this Sunday, shout out to USC. I know Mr. Janice and Leo.
UCLA. Go Bruins.
USC. I'm just kidding. And this Sunday we'll have our Kababayan Spotlight episode 2 featuring Miss Madeline Arenas of Jolly Box. Thank you again. Imagine we got Spectrum News hosting us tonight. Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a tremendous honor.
Thank you so much for hosting.
And just want to say it out there. I'm always looking for great business stories or just great stories in general. Thank you for having me. And it was a tremendous honor, and we had a great, robust conversation.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, guys.